Hi, it's Red again. How are you? I'm having a big windstorm here, so we'll see how this goes today. Today I'm going to be reading some r/entitled people, read by Red. Let's get going. Okay, here is our first story. Neighbour complains about everything and even makes up stuff to try and get me evicted. I get awesome revenge when I finally leave. So backstory for context. Entitled Neighbour owned her apartment and was a part of the housing board there as an owner, but I was just renting right next door. I have a cat who is a registered service animal for anxiety and had the landlord's permission to have her there. I worked multiple split shifts in disability care and would work until 12 a.m. and leave about 6 a.m. sometimes, and would be out all day just doing different shifts. I was very quiet when I would come home, and I lived there alone and wasn't seeing anyone, so it was just me there. My cousin had just been found murdered after being missing for 30 days, and I was quite upset about this obviously, and had taken up smoking again. I would smoke just outside my back door, and it started with her just slamming her back door, and I realised the smell was going to her door, so I went further out so it would stop annoying her. Then one day I was putting out my washing and Entitled Neighbour started having a go about me having a cat and how she was on the board and either I get rid of the cat or she will get me kicked out. So I told her the landlord knows and she can do whatever she wants, but she won't succeed. And that she has 2 little yappy dogs, so she won't get very far. Then the false complaints started. The landlord called me and apparently I was having very loud sex at all hours of the day and night. I was never home as I worked mostly 7 days a week at that point from about 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. split shifts, and was sleeping the rest of the hours. I was smoking in my home, I was banging on her walls, etc. On the times that I was home, I could hear her yelling and screaming at me from her house, or she would bang on my walls in the middle of the night, randomly waking me up and causing me to have nightmares. She called the police on me numerous times. I ended up recording her to prove to the landlord that it was her and not me. I'd actually had one of the other elderly owners on my side and defend me to the board as she had heard and seen what Entitled Neighbour had been doing to me and knew that I wasn't nasty as I would do her shopping for her on really hot days. Eventually it all became too much for me because I was trying to grieve for my cousin and I informed the landlord that I wanted out and asked if I could break my lease without copping a fine. She said absolutely because I was a model tenant in the other homes I'd rented from her. Here comes the revenge part. I had a week off to move out and clean, etc. So I played nothing but metal music or pornos really loudly, banged on her walls at night and filled her letterbox with baked beans. Thanks for coming to my petty TED Talk. Baked beans in the letterbox. It's so bizarre and disgusting. It's brilliant, I love it. Time for story number 2. Student gets angry I didn't date my friend because it didn't go with her student fan fiction. So, back in trade school I made a friend and we got along great. We were close in age, hung out all the time. Thing is, we were not romantically interested in each other. She had a crush on her classmate and I wasn't interested in anyone at school above friends. So my friend graduates and I wish her a farewell and then moved on. We're friends on Facebook and still are, so it's life. Anyway, this student we'll call Entitled Student ran up and my friend we'll call Delta. So, did you pop the question? What? You and Delta, did you ask her out? No, we're friends. You can't just be friends, that's just wrong! The F you babbling about? You and Delta are supposed to be together. We aren't romantically involved, we're just friends. No! You have to be with her! Why? We aren't that attracted to each other. Because it isn't how the story is supposed to end. What? I make fanfics of the couples of the trade school and you didn't do what I wanted. Get a hold of her or I will! Leave us alone, you psycho. Entitled Student didn't have Delta's Facebook, so Entitled Student freaked out at me demanding Delta's last name. I told Entitled Student to F off. Entitled Student threatened to spread a rumour I was gay, saying this in front of a staff member, and that didn't fare well for her. She disappeared after this. Who ships couples at school? That's her hobby, is like shipping people she knows together. It's so weird. Okie dokie, here's our last story for today. Complaining Neighbour. Many moons ago, I lived on the second floor of an apartment building in a college town, aka lots of young people getting their first taste of the real world. My neighbour below me came to my door one day asking me to keep the noise down. I was confused since I'm a rather quiet person until she explained that the noise was from me walking around my apartment. She didn't appreciate how loudly I walked in my own home. Side note, all the apartments had wall-to-wall carpets except for the first floor. I remembered something my uncle told me once about how if you don't want to hear people walking above you, then you need to live on the top floor. I told her that if it bothered her, she shouldn't have chosen to live on the first floor. She said that she had trouble with stairs and couldn't do that, but then told me to be quieter when walking around. I then told her politely that I would work on that, and shut the door. I wasn't going to alter how I walked in my own apartment just for her and her attitude problem. Oddly enough though, shortly after this encounter, I broke my foot walking down the stairs. I would be on crutches for 6 weeks with a cast and then have a walking cast for several weeks more after that. This made it difficult to move around my apartment since my crutches would get caught in the carpet. I found that it was easier to sit at my desk chair and push myself around my small apartment with my still functioning foot and arms. However, again the problem here is the damn carpet. The wheels would get stuck in the carpet and would cause me the occasional problem. This would then mean that I would have to hop around my apartment if I couldn't get the chair unstuck from the floor. I could hear her complaining sometimes, especially when I had my balcony door open and she was outside. Honestly, I didn't care about her petty problems, but was tired of hearing them. Then, one day I was trying to push myself across the apartment to the kitchen, and the wheels got stuck. I had just given my chair a big push right as it got caught and promptly fell out of the chair and onto the floor. I didn't land gracefully and ended up with a huge bruise on the back of my leg from landing on the armrest of the chair. Needless to say, I was not in a good mood and I was in pain. My lovely neighbour comes upstairs not too long after this and complains that I woke her from her nap with that loud bang. I had answered the door, sitting on the evil chair with my broken foot in plain view. I politely told her that the loud bang she heard was my body hitting the floor. In my best sugary, sweet, sarcastic voice, I told her that I appreciated her concern for my well-being and that I was fine. I then thanked her for coming by to check on me and slammed the door in her face. She never bothered me again. I love hearing about all those r/entitled people. If you did too, please give the video a like or you'll be an entitled person. And please subscribe to Read by Red because I'm going to be reading more stories about entitled people and revenge and entitled parents and malicious compliance over and over again every day. So, have a good rest of your day and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.